You are listening to the CittaCalcioUsa show, the only news and podcast in English about AS Cittadella. Hello everyone, welcome back to the CittaCalcioUsa show, episode number 164, coming to you on Friday. It's coming to you on a Monday, March 23rd. It is because we recorded on Friday, but for some reason Skype was not working in our favor, so we are re-recording this time. It's another record for Cittadella this season. That is now 5 straight home defeats after losing 2-1 against Sassuolo right before the international break. We have another few days of rest, and then it's the final 8 games, the final run-in of this season. To help me for the very first time on this podcast, we are happy to have him, and we met him last time when we went to Cittadella last year. Please welcome from the Rabaltai Ultras, Iacopo Garavello. Iacopo, how are you doing?
Hi, Jake. Thank you for having me. I'm fine. Hope the same for you, and I'm very happy to be here with you talking about Cittadella.
Yes, we're happy to have you here too. Just for everyone is aware, if you are hearing some audio difficulties, that is because we tried recording this on Friday. We had a great episode, and then for whatever reason, the recording did not save. It was such a weird thing. So not only that Cittadella is losing on the pitch, we are losing also off the pitch. We are getting defeats on Skype online, but it's okay now. We're trying something different, and hopefully this thing works. So let's see what happens. But Iacopo, once again, thank you for being here. How about you tell us a little bit about your story with Cittadella and how you became a fan? I know you were talking on Friday, so this might be a repeat, but just tell us, how you became a fan of this club.
Okay, thank you for the question. The first memory of Cittadella was in 2000, the first year of Cittadella in Serie B. Actually, I was 12 years old, and I lived in the south of Padova. Now I live very close to Cittadella, and when I was 12, I lived in Este, which is in the south of Padova. And I remember the first match I saw was against Sampdoria at Stadio Euganeo. And it was very hard because after the first time we were losing 2-0, and at the end of the match we net 2-2. And it was amazing because something great started inside of me, and I felt that was a very new passion. And at the same time was hard because people living in the south of Padova are mainly Padova fans, Padova supporters. So it was very hard for me, mostly during the morning when Cittadella lost on Sunday. So you know how it works, and it was very hard. But after that year, my passion improved and grow up, and so I'm here after 25 years talking about a lot of stories and a lot of matches away and at home. So it is very nice for me.
Yeah, it's definitely, you're definitely, you've watched way more Cittadella games than I have, that's for sure. But, getting someone from there talking about the story, it's definitely very, very telling. So with that, I want to ask you, there's so many memories that you have. There's so many games that you watched. But what would you say was your favorite match you either attended or watched live for Cittadella?
Well, the best memory probably was against Benevento in 2019. It was the semi-final, the second match, and it was very hard because we had to win with 2 goals more than Benevento. And so we knew that the match was very hard, and we went there because we were part of the team, but we didn't know that the match was in that way, and we started immediately with a very aggressive approach, and we won 3-0. I remember that it was absolutely incredible, the feast that we made after the match, and I started to check all the contacts that I had on my cell phone and start to call everybody talking about this match. And at the hotel, at the bed and breakfast, sorry, we had a very long feast, and I remember that was impossible to sleep. I wrote I wrote a message to Iori, Capitano Iori, and he told me the same. It was impossible to sleep that night.
Yeah, that was quite one of Cittadella's best ever performances to get themselves in the final. And if you remember, directly after that game, the morning after, the team arrived at the Tombolato with all the Granata supporters cheering them on, getting off the bus. So that was definitely a special moment. And I'm sure you were also at the final against Verona, even though it didn't plan out how we hoped, but it still was truly a very good moment, and I'm sure it's will live with you forever with those memories. So, but now fasting forward to the present day, Cittadella 5 straight home defeats. They are currently 14th in the league as the international break is midway through right now. Well, it was a 2-1 defeat against the league leader Sassuolo. We knew it was going to be hard, and I guess you could say it was kind of better than the one the previous weekend, the 5-1 loss against Südtirol. It just seems like Cittadella is breaking records left and right this year, because that Südtirol match was one of the worst home losses in Cittadella's history. And then this game against Sassuolo, yes, they only lost by 2-1, but that is now the 5th straight home loss, the first time that has ever happened in their Serie B history. So I'd say it was a very comfortable win for Sassuolo. Cittadella definitely had some chances in this game, and the thing about Sassuolo is they didn't have to be at their best, and they didn't need to be. Just given how much quality they have on the field, Berardi, Mulattieri, Pierini. I'm just naming a few. They didn't even have Thorsvet or Llorente, so that just shows you how good they are, and they're well on their way to Serie A. But Iacopo, I want to ask you. You were at the stadium. You were there at the game. What were your key takeaways of the match?
Well, the first thing is that there were so many people. Actually, I didn't expect so many people coming there after the loss with Südtirol. And the match, was of course we knew that it was a hard game. We knew that Mr. Dal Canto worked a lot to the head, to the mentality, to approach in the right way the match, and we saw something more, of course, compared to Südtirol match. But Sassuolo, I think that Sassuolo knew what to do. They were as a leader after a long time. They knew where to score, when to score, and they are a very solid and concrete team. And at the end, probably we had to pay in this way. Every match we make stupid mistakes. For example, the second goal at the very beginning of the second time, it was absolutely, I think, stupid again. We tried. You saw that after our goal, at the end of the match, we saw a different spirit, a different
Yes.
approach. But I think that there were too many differences between Cittadella and Sassuolo. So I think we made our best, but we lost the game.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying before the game that it was very unlikely Cittadella was going to get a result in this game. So really, the performance was really needed. And I mean, it's hard because you could see the scoreline and say 2-1. You know, it could have been a close game, but really, I don't know, because it was fairly a comfortable game for Sassuolo. And like you said, they didn't have to be at their best to get the job done. You know, Cittadella didn't fold and collapse like we saw against Suturo and many times this year. However, it is still another loss, and you know this international break comes right at the perfect time. If you are Cittadella, you just I think it drives Dal Canto crazy because you go into halftime down 1-0. It was actually for the third time this year Cittadella goes down in the first half to Sassuolo after Mulattieri opens the scoring, because he opened the scoring in the Coppa Italia, the one in Reggio Emilia in October, and now in this one. So that's very interesting. But yes, you go into halftime down 1-0. You draw up a plan to try to come back. Then the thing you cannot do if you're Cittadella trying to get a result against this really monstrous team is concede a goal after the 20 seconds in the second half. And that's exactly what they did through Domenico Berardi scoring in this game. That's just, at that moment, you can kind of just see Cittadella's not getting a result in this, and I think we kind of all knew it. But after the game, it was Cittadella kind of went for it at the end. They got a goal through Tronkin. Then after the game, everyone from the Rabaltai went down to the fence, called the players over, and had a bit of a talk. Iacopo, you were there. You were trying to hear into that. So can you tell us what was particularly said between the players and the members of Ultras?
Well, there were it was a very little talk, because the message was clear. The supporter, in particular Rabaltai, will be very close to the team from now until the end of the year. Of course, it happened from the very beginning in Lavarone, and also all the away matches. Rabaltai were always present. However, the message was that Rabaltai will still close to the team. The team needs support, and so that's what we want to do. And they have to do the player have to do something more, and to know that all the city, all Cittadella town is very close to the team. That's the real message. So we came here after so many troubles, so many problems, injuries, mistakes, and everything. Something never happened in Cittadella. But now, until the end, we have to make 8 finals. And so the supporter will be close to the team. That's the message.
Yeah, and this kind of reminds me of a situation that kind of happened 2 seasons ago, where similar to the game against Sassuolo, Cittadella were also playing against a good team. I think it was Parma, and they lost another really close 1-0 game. And after the game, the players went over to the Rabaltai, kind of a similar message like you just said, just kind of, we're going to be with you until the end, but you have to really put the heart out in these final, 8 or 6 games, however many it was at the time. And after the game, after that moment, Cittadella only lost one of their last 6 games, and that propelled them up to claim the Salvezza 2 seasons ago. So we'll see what happens this time, but it is, I kind of think that's good that the players know the fans are with them the whole time. They just gotta, show it on the pitch. And yes, like you said, 8 games remaining. A lot of them are scontri salvezza, relegation 6 pointers, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, this it was very interesting towards the end. It's just, man, this team is just so confusing this year because they have 7 away wins. That's, a lot than other teams in Serie B, especially in the relegation zone. They have 7 wins on the road, yet they're the worst team at home. Only 11 points gained from, what is it, 15 games? I'm going to go check right now, just to be sure. Yes, 15 games at home, 11 points, 2 wins, 5 draws, 8 losses. One of those losses was the Tavellino result against Pisa, even that, that would still not be a difference in this. So it's an interesting case. Iacopo, why do you think Cittadella is just so bad at home? And it really is important because, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, we're going to think that the Salvezza, if Cittadella wants a chance to survive in this league, it's going to have to come through home because they are going to be playing a lot of teams in the relegation zone at home. And even Del Canto said this. So why do you think Cittadella are just not good at home?
I think mainly is something by dad, coming from by dad. It's something that happened also in the second part of last year. And probably this is this kind of mix of player. It's a kind of reaction that they have, and a little bit they are probably a little bit scared to not do the result at the end of the match. So I think this is the mainly problem, and I think it's strange, but in this kind of campionato, it is easier playing away because you are very very close. The different part of the team are very close to them, and try to more before to score a new goal. They keep the blank very covered to not to bring goals. So I think it's a characteristic, it's a feature of our team this year. But I hope that in the future it will change, and there is a very interesting sentence that I have coming from the basketball, which is "Qui non si passa," here nobody pass. So I would like that in the future Tombolato will be in this way. Maybe after the building of the last structure of the last sectors, maybe we will have a complete, very close stadium, and it will be hard for everybody to come and to win.
Yeah, well, this season it seems
the dream.
it seems like
Dream.
this season is tutti si passano at the Tombolato because you lose against Sutiro, you lose against Mantova, you lose against Frosinone at home. Those are really just big losses. Yet on the road, they beat Pisa, they beat Palermo, they beat Juve Stabia in Castellammare di Stabia. They beat Brescia, and who knows? They could well and beat Modena, and possibly maybe we'll see them beat Sampdoria once again in a few weeks. So it's a very interesting situation because, like I said, we're gonna read you the final few games here for Cittadella, but you're gonna see that a lot of the relegation 6 pointers are going to be at home, and Cittadella needs to find a way to get results. And Del Canto said that after the game. He said, it's very unlikely that Cittadella is going to achieve all their points on the road from now on. So they really gotta figure out, and we're gonna have to see what happens. But anyway, that's kind of all I have on the Sassuolo game. Let's move on a little bit to the international break. Now, we originally recorded this podcast on Friday, right before England was going to play Albania, like we've mentioned in. I don't think we mentioned last time in the podcast that Ellen Castrati getting called up to the Albanian national team, and as well as Elio Capridossi getting called up, a last-minute call-up to the Uganda national team. He actually played 90 minutes in a 3-1 loss to Mozambique earlier a few days ago, and they will play again on Tuesday against Guinea in the African World Cup qualifying. So it's interesting because Capardossi has been nursing an injury for a while, and it's going to be he played the full 90 minutes, so it seems like he is a full-on starter with the Uganda national team. So the last thing I think Dal Canto or Marchetti or anyone really wants is another injury for Capardossi, because we've seen this season just defensively, Cittadella just can't catch a break with injuries in the back line. And even in the upcoming game against Cremonese next Sunday, Nicola Pavan will not be available as he's out for yellow card suspension. So we're keeping an eye on Capardossi. Like we said, he's playing against Guinea on Tuesday in Africa, and then we'll have to travel up back to Italy to get ready for the game against Cremonese. But back to Castrati for a minute. Castrati he has been on the national team for quite a while. He's been getting called up. Hasn't been playing much just because he's the second choice goalkeeper behind Tomas Strakosha. But he got the opportunity on Friday. So from my surprise, I only checked the score after. Castrati coming in, getting his first competitive Albanian debut on Friday night, again for Albania against England at Wembley. What a moment for him. I mean, you're talking about a guy who came to Cittadella in 2020, originally as a backup keeper behind Luca Maniero, yet he's clawed his way, he's made some great performances, and finally getting that call up, not playing, going to the Euros with Albania, not playing there, and then finally getting this opportunity at Wembley, at one of the most iconic stadiums in Europe. I mean, wow, what a moment for him, right? I mean, imagine him playing at the Tombolato last week, in front of, 3,000 people, then going to Wembley, playing against, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, all those stars for England, and in front of, 80,000 people at Wembley. It must have been incredible, right? I mean, what do you think of this rise of Castrati?
Well, I think, first of all, we can say that Cittadella had a very nice tradition with the goalkeeper. So this is not only Castrati, but also in the history we had a very, very nice, very, very good goalkeeper. And I'm really happy for him because he is a serious man, a person that training himself very constantly. He is not a critic. He works a lot. He wants to do his best and the best of his team. And he grew up a lot with us, and so he deserves it, of course. This is a nice story that you are telling, and a new story that Cittadella had from their first Serie B year, got a long list of good stories, and this is a very new, nice story, a fairy tale, and so it's very nice with a small city, a small town, a small club like ours, talking about something great like this. I remember, for example, when we played against Inter, against Lazio, against Fiorentina. This is something that we can add on this list, and it's very, very nice for us and for Castrati too.
Yeah.
And we hope for his value.
Yeah, well, I mean, I made just a funny post earlier that, kind of saying Castrati has never conceded a goal. He kept a clean sheet at Wembley, even though he played 8 minutes. Compared to Donnarumma, who's seen as one of the best keepers in the world, he's conceded 8 goals at Wembley. So you tell me who's the better keeper. But no, I was I was joking. That was just funny. But yeah, I mean, really good for him. Puts Cittadella kind of on the map a little bit. I know it's like we said, it's only a few minutes that he played. He didn't really have to do much in the game, but it was still just quite a moment for him, quite a moment for Cittadella in general. I mean, there's a picture of him, shaking hands with Bellingham after the game, a Real Madrid star next to a guy from Cittadella. I mean, imagine showing that 2 years ago or 3 years ago. When Castrati originally signed for Cittadella. But I like the reason why I've been following this club is just how sense of a community that both the players, the connection between the fans and players. So it is very possible to meet a player at a bar just casually. Mial Cafe, that's my favorite spot in Cittadella, where I had my delicious cappuccino and brioche de crema. So, Iacopo, have you ever met Castrati? Have you ever met some of the players at one of these bars or anywhere?
Yeah. Castrati, I don't remember. Probably yes, at the Mail Cafe. But okay, at Mail probably players go there after the game, so it's a time, okay, that you can say hello, but it's a time that that they have to stay in their own time all together. Yeah, of course, when the team last year was good, there were big feasts and everything, but I got a very nice memory at the supermarket because during the years I saw different players. The last one was Cassano last year, but during the years I saw different players. I remember Gorini, and I remember it was a time that I could say a sentence for them, not of course for the team. And after a very troubled year as 2 years ago, when we saved at the last match, during the last match
against Como, yes.
I remember that I saw Mr. Gorini at the supermarket, and I told him that the same message that we leave last match, and that Rabaltai and all the team, all the supporters were close to the team, and it was very. He didn't know why, because usually when a team is not good, you can. It's hard to be so close in this way, and he was very, very happy to hear something like that, and that's. I think that's something good to transfer this sentence to the team.
Yeah, it's definitely after the fans could only do so much, and but I think really it really sends a message, whether it's always being in the stands chanting, or following them all the way down to Castellamare di Stabia or Cosenza, Catanzaro, showing their support. I think that really goes a long way. And certainly, if you look at the bottom half of the table, Cittadella's in this relegation race. However, if you look at the other teams there, you could kind of say Cittadella probably has the less pressure per se, just because you think of teams like Frosinone, Sampdoria, or Salernitana, where just recently in Serie A they have this big expectations to do well. They're feeling the pressure to avoid relegation, whether for Cittadella, it would be the 10th straight year. So they are already overachieving in this way. So it seems like they have that little bit of extra edge. Whether that's good or bad, we don't know. But yeah, that's kind of it. And apologies if my audio kind of seems a little blurry. I think Iacopo, my sound is kind of transmitting through your phone, so I could kind of hear an echo. there. So I think it's okay. Like we said,
For
we've
me, it's
had.
fine.
Yeah, but like we said, we've had many troubles this time. But I'm happy at least it's well. I mean, if you're hearing this, it's probably being recorded. But if not, then I don't know. If this doesn't record, I might have to blow up this whole podcast thing because it would drive me crazy. So, but anyway, let's move on to the final round. And just as a reminder, yes, international break still going on. It's interesting to see because we'll see if Strakosha is going to be available because Albania do have another home game against Andorra, and if Strakosha is unable to go, then Castrati could fully well play the whole 90 minutes. So that's very interesting to watch, and as well as Cappadoci. With Uganda, they are playing against Guinea on Tuesday, so keep an eye out for that. You could follow us for updates on that game. Now, let's get into the final run-in for Cittadella. We've said 8 games remaining. They are currently 14th place with 33 points. Tied with them are Caradese and Frosinone. Just below them in the relegation playoff is Sampdoria with 32. Just above them as well is Reggiana with the same number of points, 32 points. 17th place is Brescia, 31 points. Tied with 30 points is Mantova and Salernitana, and then last place is 25 points in 20th place, Cosenza, who are hanging on by a thread in this season. But Cittadella's remaining games for this season. 8 games goes as followed: is the next Saturday is at Cremonese, then it's home Caradese, at Sampdoria, home Salernitana. At Sampdoria, home Salernitana. That was kind of a tongue twister there. At Reggiana, home Brescia, at Frosinone, and home on the final day against Bari. So, like we've said earlier, there's a lot of relegation 6-pointers there up for grabs, especially at home, considering you have to play Caradesi, Salernitana, Brescia. So this is what we were talking about, just given how Cittadella's got to find a way to get the job done at home if they want to survive, because they're going to be playing a lot of relegation opponents in this match. So, Jacopo, how do you see these final 8 games playing out, especially at home?
Well, on the paper, look like good, all these matches. But as probably Dal Canto already said, playing with them, probably this is not the best time, because at the end of the year, everybody wants to make more points as possible. And of course, everybody wants to save Serie B because of in particular for the entrance, the incoming
Yes.
that the Serie B can reserve to the team. And as you told before, there are different teams that were in Serie A and now are trying to save themselves from Serie C, as Sampdoria, as Frosinone, Salernitana, very, very big team. And so it will not be so easy. And we have to think about that during last years, also Crotone, Benevento went down. So it's very easy from Serie A to drop down in very few years.
Yes.
So I think what we did since now is absolutely great, and I think also if we will save this year, next year we will Andrea Gabrielli, the owner, but also Marchetti will decide to do something different, a different approach. And so let's hope to pass as soon as possible this period and try to keep as more points as possible, and have together a very feast. Also because next year we will have you. I heard that you will come to Cittadella, and so let's hope to see a Serie B match.
Yeah, hopefully it's in Serie B, and hopefully, I wouldn't say hopefully, but Preferably, I would love to go to the derby against Padova. However, they did lose today, and Vicenza won,
Yeah,
so the gap is now 1 point with how
yeah.
many? I don't know, like there's 5 games left or something like that in Serie C. So that's one to follow. Padova's kind of been wobbling a little bit. So that's a very interesting thing to see. I'm sure a lot of Cittadella supporters would be happy, more than happy enough to see Vicenza be promoted instead, even though that is kind of technically a geographical derby in a sense. So one way or the other, it looks like one of those teams will be promoted to Serie B. Interesting to see if Davide Dio is going to be coming back for this game. He's been kind of training, getting his fitness up to the level. He was on the bench for the game against Sassuolo. He did not feature, so maybe there's a possibility of him playing against Cremonese this upcoming week, but next weekend on Saturday in Cremona. But Jacopo, as we kind of start to come to a close on this podcast, what do you think is the most important thing that Cittadella needs to do in these next few weeks?
I think that they have to work a lot to know the other teams, because we knew that we are not the best team, of course, and so we need probably to check the other features of the other teams and try to remove the mistakes that we did in the last period. Try to go to the field very focused, to know what to do in advance, and to be prepared for all possible difficult and problems that could happen. Try to be very, very focused, I think.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because, like we've said in the Cittadella's run in the final 8 games, only 2 of the upcoming opponents, are in the top half of the table. That's the next game against Cremonese and the final game at home against Bari. 2 of those teams that are likely to make playoffs. Cremonese more for sure than Bari at the moment, but yeah, it's just, I think it's just really going to come down to those home games, especially against Caradese and Salernitana. Given in the reverse fixture, they lost those games, and as you know, in Serie B, the head-to-head is the first tiebreaker. So it's going to be important to at least get a win to at least equal it or even better it in those matches. And if you look at the other teams, I don't. It's so hard to say whether who has a harder schedule than not, because, like you said, sometimes it's harder to play these bottom half of the table teams at the moment because they're going to throw everything at you. However, it's hard to say, because if you look at Reggiana, just 1 point below Cittadella, their next 3 fixtures are at Sassuolo, home against Cremonese, and home against Pisa. So those are definitely hard, and they still have to play Spezia, for that matter, and away against Juve Stabia. Sampdoria, same thing. They have to play at Spezia, at Juve Stabia, at home against Cremonese, at Catanzaro. Let me see here. I'm just kind of reading. I have the whole grid. I wrote down all the fixtures of the remaining teams. Mantova, they have a lot of important fixtures. They have a big one upcoming at home against Südtirol, and then away against Brescia. Then they have 2 home games against Spezia and Catanzaro. Then they go away to Cremonese, home against Cesena, and they have 2 fixtures at the end that could decide their fate at Salernitana and home against Caradese. So this is going to be a run. This is going to be a full sprint to the end. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all unfolds. So let's see what happens. It's 8 games to go. Anything could really happen, and who knows, if Cittadella gets 3 wins in a row, we could be talking about the playoffs, and that's how quickly things could change in Serie B. However, I think at the moment, Dal Canto and Co are just preferring to stay on the track to the Salvezza. So that's kind of where we're at. But that's kind of all I have for this podcast. Jacopo, do you have anything else you want to add to this podcast? Anything else you want to add for Cittadella or at the stadium?
just to tell you that I go to the stadium with always with my flag.
That's right.
My due aste, I like all the people call it due aste because there are two poles, and the message is este with the Cittadella symbol logo. Este, of course, called bring back to my born city, and so I made it. I did it in 2010, and I'm very proud of it because I took it from the north down to the south. From Sud Tirol up to Palermo, Napoli. So, and I had it twice, but in 2014, somebody decided to steal it from the house of my family, from the house of my parents, and because my parents put it outside after Cittadella passed from Serie C to Serie B, and probably someone of supporter of Padova stole it, and I didn't find it again. It was very, very, very tough for me because it was a very, very bad experience, and I had the other one, of course, but this is something bad that I didn't like it, and but now I have this one, and I keep it every time with proud because it's part of me.
Well, let's hope that that flag will be in action next season and possibly against the Padova in Serie B. So we'll have to see. Ending the podcast on a good note, but yeah, that's kind of all I have for this podcast. Iacopo, how about you tell everyone where they could follow you, perhaps on social media, or even maybe at the stadium with the Este flag, Due Aste.
You can find me at the stadium, of course, but I'm on Facebook and on Instagram, so you can follow me there. And of course, you have to follow first of all CittaCalcioUsa. That's a very nice page, and you're doing very well, Jake, and you deserve the best because you are keeping the web the page very well. So. Great for you, and thank you for what you're doing for us.
Oh no, my pleasure. Thank you for the plug there. It was very very nice. I do my best, and at the end of the day, I just love what I do. Whether Cittadella goes to Serie B or goes to Serie C or stays in Serie B, and I just look forward to continuing doing this until I get bored of it, but for now I'm not. So we're gonna continue there. But yeah, that's kind of all I have. If you're looking for us, don't forget to follow us: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, CittaCalcioUsa, and CittaCalcioUsa.com for news, articles, recaps, match previews, all that stuff. CittaCalcioUsa.com. International break now. Beware of Elan Castrati and Elio Capradossi, who are on international break, as Cittadella this week begins to prepare for the upcoming game against Cremonese. The final 8 games are upon us. The final 8 sprints to the end, 8 finals to the end for Cittadella, as we look, hopefully, as Cittadella looks to survive once again in Serie B. So we're going to be keeping you all up to date. But that's all I have for the CittaCalcioUsa show. For me and Iacopo, thank you for listening. We will see you next week. And as always, Forza Citta. Thank you for listening to the CittaCalcioUsa show. If you liked it, please share and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CittaCalcioUsa. See you next time, and remember, Forza Citta.